Today, we will learn the types of chemical reactions. By the end of this video, you will be able to identify every major types of chemical reactions just by looking at the equation. Let's get started. First, let's understand one basic question. What is a chemical reaction? A chemical reaction is simply a process where one or more substances change into new substances. The substances we start with are called as reactants. The substance formed at the end of the reaction is called as products. Now, let's learn the 5 major types of chemical reactions. A combination reaction is exactly what the name says. Two or more reactants combine to form one single product. You need to remember this. Many becomes one. The general form is A plus B will produce AB. That means two substances combine to make one substance. For example, when quicklime reacts with water, it forms a salt lime. Easy, right? So, whenever many reactants become one product, it's a combination reaction. Now imagine the opposite. Instead of joining, if one substance break into many pieces, this is called as a decomposition reaction. The general form is AB will produce A plus B. One reactant become two or more product. You can remember this like combination means joining, decomposition means breaking. For example, look at this reaction. Furious sulfate breaks into iron oxide, sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide. Here, one become three product. Simple, right? Now, here is something very important. This reaction doesn't happen on its own. They usually need energy. The energy can be supplied as heat, light, electricity. So remember, breaking requires energy. Now let us look at a very interesting reaction. A more reactive element push out a less reactive element. This is called as displacement reaction. The general form is A plus BC will produce AC plus B. So here one elements replace another. For example, iron reacts with copper sulfate. Here iron is more reactive than copper. So iron pushes copper out of the compound. So finally we get iron sulfate and copper. So you need to remember, more reactive element displaces the less reactive one. When both compounds exchanges their partners, it is known as a double displacement reaction. The general form is AB plus CD will produce AD plus CB. Here, both compounds exchange ions. For example, sodium sulfate and barium chloride reacts and barium joins sulfate, sodium joins chloride. Here, both exchanged the ions. It is very simple, right? Another important point, many double displacement reactions form an insoluble solid called as precipitate. Here, BaSO4 forms a white precipitate. So if you see partners exchange, it's a double displacement reaction. Now this is very important reaction. Here redox means reduction plus oxidation. Both happens together. Now let us understand this. Oxidation means gain of oxygen or loss of hydrogen. Reduction means loss of oxygen or gain of hydrogen. So here one substance gets oxide and another get reduced. Both happen simultaneously. For example, let us understand zinc oxide loses oxygen and become zinc. So zinc oxide is reduced Carbon gains oxygen and become carbon monoxide. So carbon is oxide. One loses oxygen and one gain oxygen. Therefore, this is called as redox reaction. Remember, reduction is nothing but oxygen is removed. Oxidation is nothing but oxygen is added. The chemical reaction are also classified based on energy. Some reactions release heat. These are called as exothermic reactions. Think of burning wood. Here, heat will come out. For example, CH4 plus 2O2 will produce CO2 plus 2H2O. This is burning of natural gases, which means here heat is released. So, this is an exothermic reaction. You can remember this as exo is nothing but exit. Heat exit the reaction. Some reaction absorb heat or energy. These are called as endothermic reactions. For example, 2AgCl will produce 2Ag plus Cl2. This decomposition happens in light. So, the reaction absorbs the light energy. Therefore, it is endothermic reaction. You can remember this as endo is nothing but enter. Energy enters the reaction. Let us quickly revise. Combination means many reactions become one product, like A plus B will produce AB. Decomposition means one reactant break into many products, like AB will produce A plus B. Displacement, a more reactive element replaces a less reactive one. A plus BC will produce AC plus B. Double displacement, where two compounds exchange partners, like AB plus CD will produce AD plus CB. Redox, oxidation and reduction happens together. Exothermic releases heat. Endothermic absorbs energy. Here is one final memory trick. Combination is nothing but joining. Decomposition is nothing but break. Displacement is nothing but replace. Double displacement is nothing but exchange. Redox is oxygen transform. Exothermic, heat comes out. Endothermic, heat goes in. This is about types of chemical reactions. Hope you have understood the topic. Thank you.